The old man was already sitting when the night became quiet enough to notice. He sat on a simple wooden bench beneath a dim, steady light. The bench was old, smooth in places where time had passed again and again. It did not feel cold. It did not feel warm. It simply felt familiar. The old man rested his hands gently on his knees. His fingers were loose, relaxed, no tension left in them. They were finished holding, finished gripping, finished working for the day. He took a slow breath in, and then let it go. Nothing followed the breath. No thought chased it. No memory tried to step forward. The breath came and left quietly, doing exactly what it was meant to do. The air around him was still. Not empty, not silent in a sharp way. It was full and soft, as if the night itself had decided to slow down and rest. The light beside him did not flicker. It stayed calm, touching only what needed to be seen. The rest faded gently into darkness, where details were no longer important. The old man did not try to sleep. He did not need to. His shoulders dropped slightly, not because he told them to, but because they remembered how to let go. Years of carrying weight slowly eased without effort. The ground beneath the bench felt steady. The bench rested there without complaint. The old man rested on the bench. Everything was supported. Nothing was floating. His breathing settled into a rhythm. In, out, each breath a little slower than the last. Time no longer felt like something moving forward. It felt wide, open. Moments rested beside each other instead of rushing past. The trees nearby stood quietly. Their branches did not move. Their leaves did not whisper. Even the air between them felt settled. The old man's eyes remained open, but unfocused. He was not looking for anything. There was nothing to find. A thought arrived, then another. They stayed briefly, then drifted away on their own, as if they realized there was no place to land. The old man did not follow them. He did not push them away. He stayed exactly where he was. The bench felt steady beneath him, solid, reliable, like it had learned patience over many quiet nights. The light continued to glow softly. It did not demand attention. It simply stayed. His breathing slowed again. The night wrapped around him evenly, without edges, without corners. Darkness that felt safe, not heavy. Muscles in his neck softened. His jaw loosened. His back settled naturally. There was nothing left to adjust. If sleep came, it would come gently. If it did not, that was fine too. There was no rush, no task, no goal. The old man remained still, supported, calm. The night stayed with him. And for now, that was enough. And for now, that was enough. The old man remained on the bench just as he was. Nothing had changed, and nothing needed to. The night did not ask him to move forward. It simply allowed him to stay. His breathing continued, slow and even. Each breath arrived without effort and left without being noticed. In and out blended together until it felt like one long, gentle motion. The space around him felt settled, not empty, not full, just settled. The kind of quiet that does not need to be protected because nothing is trying to disturb it. His feet rested flat on the ground. The soles of his shoes touched the earth lightly, as if they were only there to confirm that he was still connected to something solid. The ground did not respond. It did not need to. Somewhere in the distance, time continued doing whatever it does. But here, near the bench and the dim light, time softened again. It slowed its pace, then forgot why it was moving at all. The old man's chest rose gently, then fell. No counting, no rhythm to follow, just breathing, doing what breathing has always done. His thoughts grew quieter, not because they were pushed away, but because they had nothing to hold on to. Each thought arrived lighter than the one before it, until even lightness felt unnecessary. The bench supported him patiently. It had done this many times before for many different people on many quiet nights. It knew how to stay still. The air felt cool against his skin, but not cold. Comfortable enough to forget about. Comfortable enough to disappear. His shoulders rested lower now. His neck softened. The small muscles around his eyes released their last bits of tension, one by one, without asking permission. The light beside him continued to glow steadily. It did not brighten. It did not fade. It simply existed, offering just enough presence to remind the night where the bench was. The old man did not close his eyes yet. There was no reason to hurry. Rest was already happening. The sounds of the world felt distant, as if they belonged to another place entirely. If something moved far away, it moved without reaching him. His hands remained warm and still. Fingers gently curved, no longer shaped by work or intention. They had found a position that required nothing. Breath followed breath, each one slightly slower, each one slightly deeper. The night seemed to expand around him, stretching wide and calm, holding everything without effort. There were no edges to bump into, no corners to get stuck in. Just quiet, just stillness, just this moment resting exactly where it was. The old man stayed on the bench, supported by the night, breathing softly with nowhere else to be. And that was still enough. And that was still enough. The old man remained exactly where he was, as if the bench and the night had quietly agreed to keep him there. Nothing shifted. Nothing asked to be adjusted. Stillness settled more deeply, like a blanket placed gently without being noticed. His breathing continued its slow rhythm. It no longer felt like something he was doing. It felt like something that was simply happening nearby. In the space between breaths, there was a pause. Not an empty pause. A comfortable one. A pause that did not expect anything to follow. The darkness around him felt soft. It did not press inward. It did not stretch outward. It stayed even and calm, holding the shapes of trees, the outline of the path, and the quiet space between them. The path ahead looked the same as it always had, but it felt different now. Not longer, not shorter, just present, without asking to be walked. The old man's back rested naturally. The bench met him exactly where it needed to. Years of small adjustments were no longer necessary. His body had found a position it recognized. His jaw loosened a little more. His tongue rested gently. His breath slipped in and out without sound. Thoughts became slower. Not fewer at first, just slower. They arrived one at a time, lingered briefly, and then faded without leaving a trace. There was nothing to solve, nothing to plan, nothing waiting for him. The night air touched his skin lightly. It felt steady, familiar, like something that had always been there and always would be. The old man did not feel heavy. He did not feel light. He felt held. The bench, the ground beneath it, and the earth below all worked together quietly. Support layered upon support, each one resting without strain. His hands felt relaxed now, almost distant, as if they belonged to the bench as much as they belonged to him. Fingers remained still, warm and calm. Breath followed breath, in, out. The pause between them grew longer, stretching gently, like time itself was learning how to slow down. Somewhere, far beyond the reach of this quiet space, the world continued moving. But here, near the bench and the dim light, movement no longer mattered. The light remained steady. It did not demand attention. It simply marked this place as safe. The old man's eyes finally softened, not closing yet, just resting. Focus faded, edges blurred, details became unnecessary. Rest deepened again, not by sinking downward, but by spreading outward. Calm extended through his shoulders, his chest, his arms, and into his hands. The night stayed with him, patient and quiet. And the old man stayed too, breathing slowly, supported completely, with nothing left to do. And the old man stayed too, breathing slowly, supported completely, with nothing left to do. The pause between his breaths widened again. Not stretched, not forced, It simply opened, like a quiet space that had always been there but was only now being noticed. His chest rose gently, then rested, then fell. The movement was small, almost invisible, but steady enough to feel dependable. The kind of motion that does not need attention to continue. The night around him felt settled into place, as if every sound that might have existed had already found where it belonged, far enough away to no longer matter. The bench beneath him held its shape. The wood felt smooth where countless evenings had passed before this one. It did not creak. It did not shift. It stayed exactly as it was. The old man's weight rested evenly now. No side pulled more than the other. No muscle tried to help. His body had remembered how to be still without effort. The path nearby remained quiet. Its surface looked soft in the dim light, though its details no longer asked to be seen. A path does not need to be understood when it is not being walked. The air felt slightly cooler now, brushing lightly against his face and hands. Not enough to wake him. Just enough to remind him that the night was still present. His shoulders sank a little more, as if they had finally decided they could stop holding themselves up. The space around his neck softened. His head rested naturally, balanced without thought. Breath continued. In, out, each breath quieter than the one before. The old man's thoughts thinned again, not disappearing all at once but spacing themselves farther apart. Each one arrived gently, then drifted away, leaving the quiet untouched. There was no need to follow them, no reason to remember them. The light beside him glowed steadily, offering a calm reference point without drawing focus. It marked the bench, the ground, and the quiet space where the old man rested. The darkness beyond felt even and smooth. It did not hide anything important. It simply allowed unimportant details to fade away. His hands rested where they had been for some time now. Fingers slightly curved, palms warm, wrists loose. They felt distant, but not disconnected. Just calm. The bench, the ground, and the earth beneath continued their silent work. Holding, supporting, staying. Time softened again. It no longer felt measured in minutes or moments. It felt wide and gentle, like a long breath that did not need to end. The old man remained still, breathing slowly, wrapped in quiet, with the night resting easily around him. And nothing asked him to change. And nothing asked him to change. The old man remained as he was, comfortably settled into the stillness that surrounded him. The night seemed to recognize this and responded by becoming even quieter, as if it too had found a place to rest. His breathing continued without effort. It moved gently through his chest and out again, smooth and unbroken. Each breath felt like a small wave reaching the shore and then quietly returning to the sea. The air around him felt balanced, not warm, not cool, simply present. It touched his skin lightly and then moved on, without leaving any trace behind. The bench beneath him felt familiar now, as if it had always been there waiting for this exact moment. Its surface supported him evenly, without pressure, without complaint. The old man's legs rested naturally, knees bent just enough to be comfortable, feet planted softly on the ground, nothing pulled, nothing strained. The ground itself felt solid and dependable. It did not shift or respond. It simply remained, doing its quiet work of holding everything above it. His shoulders stayed low and relaxed. The weight that once lived there had gently faded away, leaving only ease behind. His arms felt loose at his sides, heavy in a calm and pleasant way. The light beside him continued its soft glow. It cast no sharp shadows. It created no harsh lines. It simply illuminated enough to remind the night where this quiet place existed. The darkness beyond felt smooth and uninterrupted. No movement disturbed it, no sound crossed through it. It felt wide enough to hold every thought without needing to keep any of them. Thoughts, when they appeared, felt distant. They passed by slowly, like clouds that did not expect to be noticed. They arrived. They drifted. They left. The old man did not follow them. He stayed with his breathing. In, out. The pause between breaths lingered slightly longer now, stretching comfortably, like time itself had decided to sit down beside him. His eyes felt heavy, though they had not yet closed. The muscles around them softened further, allowing focus to fade completely. Shapes blurred. Details melted away. Rest deepened again, spreading gently through his body, from his shoulders to his arms, from his chest to his back, from his back down into the bench. The night remained patient. It did not rush him. It did not guide him. It simply stayed, steady and calm. The old man stayed as well, breathing quietly, supported from every direction, wrapped in a stillness that felt natural and safe. And the quiet continued. And the quiet continued. It did not grow deeper or lighter. It simply remained, steady and calm, like something that had decided it was already exactly right. The old man's breathing stayed slow and even. Each breath felt less like a movement and more like a gentle presence. Air came in softly, rested for a moment, and then left without sound. His chest rose only slightly now, just enough to remind the body that breathing was still happening, just enough to feel reassuring. The night around him felt settled into a comfortable balance. Nothing stirred the air. Nothing shifted the darkness. Everything stayed where it was meant to be. The bench beneath him felt almost like part of the ground now. No separation. No awareness of where one ended and the other began. Support flowed upward quietly, meeting him without effort. The old man's back rested fully. No muscle tried to adjust. No signal asked for movement. His body had learned that stillness was safe here. The path nearby remained untouched. Its surface waited patiently, without expecting footsteps. A path does not mind being unused. The light beside the bench continued its soft glow. It neither brightened nor dimmed. It offered no invitation and made no demands. It simply existed, calmly marking this quiet place. The darkness beyond the light felt smooth and uninterrupted. It held the shapes of trees and open space without drawing attention to them. Details felt unnecessary now. The old man's hands rested exactly where they had been. Fingers loose, palms warm. There was no awareness of grip or tension. Just the gentle weight of hands being hands. Thoughts became rarer. When one did appear, it felt thin and distant, as if it belonged to someone else entirely. It passed through without slowing him down. There was nothing to remember, nothing to prepare for, nothing waiting beyond this moment. The pause between breaths lengthened again. Not stretched, not forced, just comfortably wide. In, a quiet pause, out. The rhythm felt familiar, like something learned long ago and never forgotten. His head rested naturally now, balanced without effort. His jaw hung slightly loose. The small muscles around his mouth softened further, letting go of the last traces of holding. Time felt less like a line and more like a wide, open space. Moments rested gently beside one another, without order and without urgency. The night seemed to wrap around the old man evenly. Not heavy, not close, just present, like a calm awareness that asked nothing from him. He remained still on the bench, breathing slowly, supported completely, as rest continued to spread quietly through him. And the night stayed the same. And the night stayed the same. It did not deepen or fade. It simply rested around the old man, as steady and calm as it had been all along. Nothing shifted its position. Nothing asked it to move. The old man's breathing continued, slow and quiet. Each breath arrived gently, paused without effort, and then left again, leaving behind the same soft stillness. His body felt settled into the bench now, as if the shape of the bench and the shape of his back had slowly learned how to match each other. There were no sharp edges, no pressure points, just an even, comfortable support. The air around him felt smooth. It moved so slowly it was almost impossible to notice. It brushed past his face and hands without drawing attention to itself. His shoulders remained low and relaxed. They no longer remembered the weight they once carried. They stayed where they were, content to rest. The old man's legs felt heavy in a pleasant way, not tired, just calm. Knees rested naturally, feet stayed grounded, lightly connected to the earth beneath them. The ground remained firm and dependable. It did not respond or react. It simply held everything above it, quietly and without effort. The light beside the bench continued to glow softly. It cast a gentle shape on the ground nearby, then allowed the rest to fade smoothly into darkness. Nothing needed to be seen clearly anymore. The darkness beyond the light felt wide and even. It did not hide anything important. It only softened what did not matter. Thoughts had nearly stopped arriving. When one did appear, it felt distant and unimportant, like a sound heard far away through closed windows. It passed without leaving a mark. The old man did not follow it. He did not resist it. He stayed with the calm rhythm of his breathing. In, out. The pause between breaths felt comfortable and familiar now. It lingered naturally, without effort or awareness. His eyes felt heavy. The muscles around them relaxed completely. Focus dissolved. Shapes blurred. Darkness became smooth and uniform. Rest spread quietly through his body again. From his neck into his shoulders, from his shoulders into his arms, from his back into the bench beneath him. Time felt less noticeable now. It no longer felt like something passing. It felt like something resting right alongside him. The night remained patient. It did not guide him toward sleep or pull him away from it. It simply stayed present, steady and calm. The old man remained on the bench, breathing slowly, supported fully, wrapped in stillness. And nothing needed to change. The old man stayed where he was, resting in the same position, as if the night itself had gently asked him to remain exactly there. No part of him felt unsettled. No small movement tried to begin. His breathing continued quietly, steady and unremarkable. Each breath felt familiar, like something he had been doing forever without needing to remember when it started. The air around him felt calm and even. It carried no message. It brought no signal. It simply existed, lightly touching his skin and then drifting on without effort. The bench beneath him felt steady and dependable. It did not press upward. It did not sink downward. It stayed exactly where it was meant to be, holding him without needing to adjust. The old man's arms rested easily at his sides. They felt heavy in a comfortable way, as if gravity itself had softened. His hands remained still, fingers loose and relaxed, unaware of time. The ground beneath the bench felt firm and quiet. It held the weight of everything above it without complaint. There was something reassuring about that steady support, even if it was never noticed directly. The light nearby continued its gentle glow. It did not brighten or dim. It offered no direction. It simply marked this small, calm place in the wide stillness of the night. Beyond the light, the darkness felt smooth and unbroken. Shapes faded into it slowly, without sharp edges. Details no longer asked to be understood. The old man's thoughts were nearly silent now. Not gone, just resting. When a thought did drift by, it felt thin and distant, like a whisper that did not need to be heard. He did not reach for it. He did not follow it. His breathing remained the only steady movement. In, out. The pause between breaths rested comfortably, lingering just long enough to feel complete. There was no sense of waiting for the next one. His shoulders remained low. His neck felt loose. His head rested naturally, balanced without effort or awareness. Time no longer felt important. It did not feel fast or slow. It simply felt absent, as if it had quietly stepped aside to let the moment rest on its own. The night stayed calm and even. It did not deepen or shift. It remained patient, wide, and quiet. The old man stayed on the bench, breathing slowly, supported from every direction, wrapped in a stillness that asked nothing from him. And the quiet continued, steady and gentle just as it was. And the quiet continued, steady and gentle just as it was. The old man remained seated on the bench, breathing softly, as if the night had settled into a long, comfortable pause around him. Nothing shifted in his posture. Nothing asked for attention. His breathing stayed slow and even. Air moved in without sound, rested briefly, and then moved out again, leaving the same calm behind. Each breath felt complete on its own. The air around him felt smooth and still. It carried no changes, no temperature shift worth noticing. It simply existed, lightly present, then easily forgotten. The bench beneath him felt familiar now, almost invisible. Its support blended with the ground beneath it, creating a steady foundation that required no thought. The old man's legs rested quietly. The weight of them felt evenly balanced. There was no urge to stretch or move. Comfort had already been found. His hands remained loose and relaxed, fingers curved naturally, palms warm, resting without effort. They felt distant in a peaceful way, as if they no longer needed to do anything at all. The light beside the bench continued to glow softly. It did not draw the eye. It simply stayed, marking this quiet place without interrupting it. Beyond the light, the darkness felt wide and uninterrupted. It held the shapes of trees and open space gently, without asking them to be seen clearly. Thoughts had slowed to a near stop. When one did appear, it drifted through lightly and then faded away, leaving the calm untouched. The old man did not notice their passing. His shoulders stayed low and relaxed. The muscles along his back felt loose and supported. His head rested naturally, balanced without effort. The pause between breaths felt wide now, comfortable, unrushed, and the gentle pause out. Time no longer felt like something that moved forward. It felt still, resting alongside him, unmeasured and quiet. The night remained patient. It did not guide him towards sleep or hold him back from it. It simply stayed present, calm and even. The old man remained on the bench, breathing slowly, supported completely, wrapped in stillness that felt safe and familiar. Nothing needed to happen next, and so nothing did. And the stillness stretched onward quietly without change. The old man remained seated on the familiar bench. His body did not shift. His mind did not wander beyond the edges of the quiet night. Everything felt held, supported, complete. Each breath arrived gently and left just as quietly. In and out, steady and unremarkable, marking a rhythm that needed no attention. The pause between breaths lingered comfortably, stretching slightly longer than before, just enough to feel full. The air around him carried nothing but itself. No temperature, no pressure, no motion that required notice. It moved past his skin and drifted into the darkness, where it became part of the night's calm. The bench beneath him remained solid, holding him evenly with no awareness of effort. It seemed to blend into the earth itself, merging support and ground into a single quiet presence. His arms rested naturally at his sides, palms warm, fingers loose. They did not move. They did not need to. The small weight of them against his legs felt comforting, like a gentle reminder that the body could stay still without consequence. The light nearby glowed softly, not bright, not dark, just enough to define the edge of his immediate world without drawing attention to itself. The shadows it cast did not startle, they simply lingered, like the calm night itself. Beyond the light, the darkness stretched endlessly, smooth and even. The shapes of trees and distant objects blurred into it, becoming part of the quiet, fading into a gentle pattern that asked nothing from the old man. Thoughts came only rarely now. When one drifted by, it was so faint it barely touched his awareness. It passed, leaving the calm undisturbed. He neither followed nor pushed it away. He simply stayed. His legs rested evenly on the ground, knees bent softly, feet planted firmly yet lightly. Comfort had become automatic. Muscles remembered stillness better than consciousness could. Time felt different. Not gone, but irrelevant. Not past, not future. Only this quiet present, stretching beyond measurement. Moments lined up side by side, resting gently without concern for order or meaning. The pause between breaths lingered comfortably. In, out, each motion complete, whole, undisturbed, each pause long enough to feel like a resting place. His head rested naturally. The jaw hung loose, relaxed. The muscles around the eyes softened further, letting focus fade. The night's calm seemed to wrap around him, steady and even, supporting him without effort. And in this quiet, he remained, not asleep in a rush, not alert, simply present, held by the stillness, supported by the night, breathing gently, resting completely. Nothing demanded movement, nothing needed thought. Only the night, the bench, the earth, and the slow rhythm of his breathing. And that was enough. The quiet did not change. It simply continued, smooth and unbroken. The old man stayed exactly where he was, as if the night itself had chosen that position for him. There was no reason to adjust, no reason to check the body. Everything had already settled into its most comfortable shape. Breathing moved slowly now. Each inhale arrived softly, filling the chest without effort. Each exhale left even more slowly, as though it had nowhere else it needed to be. The pause afterward stretched gently, calm and reassuring. The world around him felt distant, yet close. Sounds did not disappear, they simply lost importance. If something existed far away, it stayed far away. Nothing traveled toward him, nothing asked to be noticed. The air rested against his face, cool but gentle. It brushed past his cheeks and forehead, then slipped away into the darkness. There was no change in temperature, no surprise, just consistency. His shoulders softened further, sinking down naturally. Any remaining tension loosened and drifted away, as if it had grown tired of holding on. The body remembered how to rest long before the mind ever did. The bench continued its quiet work, supporting him evenly. There was no pressure point, no discomfort, no signal to move. Wood, ground, and earth all shared the weight without complaint. The light nearby seemed dimmer now, not because it had changed, but because his attention no longer rested on it. Shadows blended together, becoming smoother, less defined. Edges softened, thoughts slowed to a crawl. One might appear briefly, unfinished, unimportant, then fade before it could form completely. There was no story to follow, no memory to replay. Time no longer passed in a straight line. It spread outward instead, wide and gentle, like a calm lake with no visible shore. Moments floated without direction, resting wherever they landed. His hands remained warm and relaxed, fingers curved naturally, holding nothing, needing nothing. The simple weight of his hands grounded him, anchoring him quietly to the present. Breathing continued its steady rhythm. In, and out. Each breath complete on its own. No counting, no effort, just motion, followed by rest. The night felt protective now, not watching, not judging, simply present, surrounding him evenly on all sides, above, below, around. The old man did not drift forward or backward. He rested in place, balanced perfectly between wakefulness and sleep, where nothing was required of him. Stillness deepened, not by pulling him downward, but by spreading outward, gently, evenly. And he stayed there, breathing slowly, supported completely, wrapped in quiet that asked for nothing more. Nothing shifted when the moment changed. The stillness simply remained unbroken. The old man continued to rest, carried gently by the rhythm of his own breathing. In the space between breaths, there was no waiting. The pause felt complete, as though it had always been there. His chest rose slowly, then fell, smooth and quiet. Each breath felt deeper than the last, not because it reached farther, but because it asked for less. The body no longer tried to control it. Breathing knew what to do. The darkness around him felt softer now, not thick, not heavy, just calm. It rested against the world the way a blanket rests, without weight, without pressure. Somewhere beyond the trees, the night continued as it always had. But here, in this small space, nothing changed at all. And that sameness felt safe. The old man's back settled more fully against the bench. Muscles that had been holding themselves upright slowly released their duty. Gravity took over, kind and steady. There was no awareness of minutes passing, no sense of before or after. Time had loosened its grip, allowing moments to float freely, unattached to numbers or names. The air moved gently again, brushing past him without sound. It carried no message. It left no trace. It came and went like a quiet visitor who never needed to be acknowledged. His face remained relaxed, jaw loose, brow smooth. Even the small muscles around his eyes softened, letting go of focus, letting go of effort. If a thought tried to form, it arrived already fading. There was nothing to hold on to, no reason to finish it. The mind learned to rest by doing less, not more. The bench, the ground, the earth beneath, each layer continued to support the next. Nothing strained, nothing shifted. Everything stayed exactly where it belonged. The night sky no longer felt distant. It felt close, surrounding him evenly, as though he were resting inside it rather than beneath it. Stars, if they existed, stayed out of sight, unimportant. Breathing remained slow and steady. In, then out. Each cycle smoothing the edges of awareness, rounding everything into something simple. The old man stayed in this gentle balance, awake enough to notice calm, relaxed enough to drift without effort. There was no edge to cross, no moment to wait for. Only this quiet stretch of rest, wide and open, holding him comfortably where he was. And he remained there, supported, unhurried, untouched by time, as the night continued to stay exactly the same. The quiet did not deepen. It simply continued, smooth and even. The old man stayed where he was, not holding himself there, not choosing to remain, just resting, as naturally as the ground rests beneath the sky. His breathing moved like a slow tide. Each breath arrived without effort and left without being noticed. There was no pause that felt empty. Every space felt complete on its own. The bench felt warmer now, as though it had adjusted to him, or perhaps his body had adjusted to it. Either way, there was no difference left to notice. The world had narrowed gently, not by shrinking, but by becoming simpler. Fewer edges, fewer details. Just the soft presence of being here. The trees no longer felt tall or wide. They felt steady. Their shapes blended into the darkness, becoming part of the night rather than standing within it. Nothing moved. Nothing needed to. His hands rested where they had been for a long time now, fingers relaxed, slightly curved, no tension left to release. Even the idea of movement felt distant, unnecessary. If memory drifted close, it passed through without stopping. There was no pull toward yesterday, no invitation from tomorrow. Thoughts arrived already quiet, already finished. The air felt balanced, neither cool nor warm. It touched the skin lightly, then slipped away, leaving no sensation behind. Even comfort became subtle, something felt rather than noticed. The old man's shoulders sank just a little more, settling into a position that asked nothing of him. Muscles that once held stories and weight finally rested, grateful for the stillness. The night wrapped itself evenly around everything. No shadows stood out, no shapes demanded attention. Darkness became a gentle background rather than an absence of light. Breathing remained slow. In and out. The rhythm no longer marked time. It simply existed, steady and reliable, like something that had always been there. Awareness softened at the edges. The world felt slightly farther away, not gone, just quiet enough to no longer need focus. The old man remained present without effort. There was no moment of falling asleep, no crossing of lines, just a gentle drifting like water settling after a ripple. He stayed there, held by the bench, the ground, the earth below, supported without question, resting without need. And the night continued to hold him, calmly and completely, asking nothing in return. The quiet did not deepen. It simply continued, smooth and even. The old man stayed where he was, not holding himself there, not choosing to remain, just resting, as naturally as the ground rests beneath the sky. His breathing moved like a slow tide. Each breath arrived without effort and left without being noticed. There was no pause that felt empty. Every space felt complete on its own. The bench felt warmer now, as though it had adjusted to him, or perhaps his body had adjusted to it. Either way, there was no difference left to notice. The world had narrowed gently, not by shrinking, but by becoming simpler. Fewer edges, fewer details. Just the soft presence of being here. The trees no longer felt tall or wide. They felt steady. Their shapes blended into the darkness, becoming part of the night rather than standing within it. Nothing moved. Nothing needed to. His hands rested where they had been for a long time now. Fingers relaxed, slightly curved, no tension left to release. Even the idea of movement felt distant, unnecessary. If memory drifted close, it passed through without stopping. There was no pull toward yesterday, no invitation from tomorrow. Thoughts arrived already quiet, already finished. The air felt balanced, neither cool nor warm. It touched the skin lightly, then slipped away, leaving no sensation behind. Even comfort became subtle, something felt rather than noticed. The old man's shoulders sank just a little more, settling into a position that asked nothing of him. Muscles that once held stories and weight finally rested, grateful for the stillness. The night wrapped itself evenly around everything. No shadows stood out, no shapes demanded attention. Darkness became a gentle background rather than an absence of light. Breathing remained slow, in and out. The rhythm no longer marked time. It simply existed, steady and reliable, like something that had always been there. Awareness softened at the edges. The world felt slightly farther away, not gone, just quiet enough to no longer need focus. The old man remained present without effort. There was no moment of falling asleep, no crossing of lines, just a gentle drifting, like water settling after a ripple. He stayed there, held by the bench, the ground, the earth below, supported without question, resting without need, and the night continued to hold him calmly and completely, asking nothing in return. Nothing changed, and yet everything felt softer. The old man did not notice the moment his awareness loosened further. There was no signal, no shift to observe. The mind simply stepped back, allowing the quiet to fill the space it once occupied. Breathing continued on its own, slow, even. Each breath felt like it belonged to the night rather than to him. Inhaling felt like receiving. Exhaling felt like letting go, without effort, without intention. The bench beneath him felt steady, unmoving, solid in a way that required no trust. It had always been there, and it would remain, whether noticed or not. That certainty allowed the body to relax just a little more. The ground below held everything gently, layers of earth resting beneath layers of earth. Nothing rushed, nothing shifted. The weight of the world was already accounted for. The trees stood quietly, not as shapes but as presence, their roots deep, their branches still. They were not watching, they were simply being, and that was enough. The old man's thoughts no longer formed complete ideas. They drifted like fragments of clouds, thinning as they moved, dissolving before they could become stories. There was no need to follow them. The night air brushed past him softly, touching his skin and moving on. It carried no message. It asked no question. It passed through without leaving anything behind. His shoulders rested fully now. No memory remained of when they last carried weight. Muscles softened into positions they had been seeking all along, finding rest without instruction. Time felt wide and unmarked. There were no seconds passing, no minutes stacking together. Only a long, gentle pause that seemed to stretch comfortably in every direction. Darkness no longer felt like something surrounding him. It felt like something shared. The space around and the space within felt similar now, equally quiet, equally calm. The old man remained seated, yet the sense of sitting faded. The body felt lighter, as though it were supported from all sides, held in place without pressure. Breathing remained the only movement, and even that felt subtle. In and out blended together, like waves smoothing a shoreline long after the tide has turned. There was no effort to sleep. There was no effort to stay awake. The night accepted him exactly as he was, and he rested there, gently suspended in the calm, with nothing left to do and nowhere else to be. The stillness did not deepen. It widened. The old man remained exactly where he was, yet the sense of being here began to soften. Location no longer mattered. The bench, the path, the trees, all of it felt present, but gently distant, like memories that no longer needed to be recalled. Breath moved quietly through him, steady and unhurried. There was no longer a clear beginning or ending to it. Each inhale flowed into the exhale as though the body had forgotten how to separate them. His chest rose and fell almost imperceptibly. The rhythm was familiar, ancient, practiced over a lifetime and now free from supervision. The body knew what to do, and the mind no longer interfered. The night air remained calm. It did not cool or warm, it simply existed, touching and passing, carrying nothing with it. Even sensation felt optional now, fading at the edges. The old man's hands rested open, fingers relaxed, palms loose. There was no tension left to release, no final adjustment waiting to be made. Everything had already found its most comfortable place. The sounds of the world, if any remained, were too distant to identify. They blended into a single quiet presence that required no attention. Silence felt complete, not empty. Time no longer felt paused, it felt irrelevant. Moments did not stack or move forward. They rested together side by side, without order. The idea of before and after slowly dissolved, leaving only this gentle now. The darkness around him felt even, smooth, without depth. It did not hide anything. It did not reveal anything. It simply held space, wide and accepting. His posture remained upright, yet effort had fully left it. The body balanced itself naturally, supported by the bench, the ground, and something quieter beneath awareness. Thoughts arrived less often now, and when they did, they were faint and unfinished. They passed through like echoes too soft to repeat, disappearing before meaning could form. The old man did not chase rest. Rest had already arrived. There was no need to drift, no need to sink. Calm spread gently like warmth through still water, touching every part without urgency. Nothing resisted. Nothing tightened. Breath continued. The night remained. And the quiet held everything exactly as it was meant to be.